Throughout my short career on YouTube, I've advocated for a heap of topics so far. Media accountability, referee protections, and the international game, but there is a fourth thing that I am equally passionate about. And privately, I advocate for it just as much. It's women's footy. And while this is my first proper video on the topic, those of you who watch my live streams would know just how much I celebrate the women's game. Whether it's club footy, state footy, or international footy, I stream watch-alongs for it. But I do think it's about time I made a main channel video to properly give these girls the praise and respect that they deserve. And I know for a fact there's already people who've gone to the comment section of this and commented, "Nobody cares about the women's game," while sitting in the corner of their mother's basement wondering why she's the only woman who'll go anywhere near them. Is that you? Are you the one who does that? Hi. I see you. Look, it's probably a good thing that you're here because at the end of the day, this video is aimed at you. Let me ask you a very simple question. Are you a rugby league fan? Do you enjoy watching the sport of rugby league? The tries, the hits, the passes, the kicks? Because I do. I find this combination of sporting rules very entertaining. And look, let me just say this off the bat. The NRLW is never going to be at the same level as the NRL. I'm not saying that it is as good, but I am saying that it is good, and it is rapidly improving. When the NRLW started back in 2018, it was at times a bit of a tough watch. The big hits were there, no doubt, but there was definitely a lack of skill and finesse. You'd rarely see a slick backline movement that really wowed you, or defense that would stand up after being tested again and again. It wasn't even that uncommon for players to kick conversions and not make the distance. We had 4 teams, largely made up of players who'd had their pathways blocked coming all the way through because women's footy would end at a certain age group. That was 2018, only 6 seasons ago. That's not long at all. Let me compare that to now, as the NRLW prepares to enter its 7th season. It survived a COVID pandemic that rocked them so hard that they had to postpone an entire season until February, and despite that, it's just gone from strength to strength. The competition has tripled in size, now with 12 teams. 6 games a week across 11 rounds makes for 66 regular season games across the year, up from unbelievably 6 regular season games in 2018. That's right, we now have 11 times the regular season games that we did only 6 years ago. And every one of those games is shown on free-to-air television. That is absolutely immense. And yet, despite all the new teams coming in demanding new talent and new players, the NRLW's quality has objectively increased throughout that period. Like, it's genuinely not even up for debate. You look at someone like Jessie Southwell, the 20-year-old premiership-winning New South Wales halfback. In Game 2 of Origin this year especially, she genuinely put in a masterclass of halfback play. The game management, the kick selection, it was so on point. She's a genuinely exciting rugby league talent. Another one, Taryn Aiken, who I believe to be the best women's player in the world. If Taryn was a bloke, we'd be talking about her like Alfie Langer reincarnate. She's a little zippy Queensland half who just makes things happen. One of these players who just seems to see the game unfold before everyone else does. Who always seems to pull the exact right string to get her team across the line. There's a reason that despite only being 25, she's won 3 of the 6 NRLW premierships so far. Taryn is a rugby league player who is worth watching. And if you still think you could run rings around these girls, run it straight at Amber Hall. Go on. She weighs 108 kilos and has no sense of self-preservation. I actually remember my very first university lecture of international law, and the first thing that the lecturer said was, fun fact, Australia does host a weapon of mass destruction, and her name is Amber Hall. And look, I could go on. The athleticism of Jamie Chapman, the speed of Tamika Upton, the toughness of Salatoga Tuki, it's immense. But even aside from pumping up all their tires that way, it just honestly is very entertaining. A Monash University study showed that from 2021 to 2023, the average winning margin in the NRLW was actually 2.3 points lower than the NRL. And with most NRL teams now having an NRLW team, there's a direct way for you to have skin in the game. I don't think I've told this story publicly, because until recently I hid the team that I support, but on Grand Final Day, when the NRLW Roosters beat the Sharks, I was genuinely on the verge of tears. And I'm not genuinely a crier, but it got me. Partly because I was seeing that Roosters emblem that I love so much being declared champion again, but mostly because I know what those girls have gone through. I knew how they had dominated in 2022 and 2023, but fell short of making the grand final. But that day, they finally did it. And at the time, I was genuinely just really caught up and emotional in the sporting story. The gender of those players really didn't factor into my thinking in that moment. I was just appreciating the context of what they'd done. And I've got to say, I feel genuinely sorry for Roosters fans who couldn't achieve that same emotion. Now, I'm not saying that those other fans couldn't do it because they're bigoted or sexist or whatever, and I'm not even saying that you have a duty as an NRL fan to support your NRLW team, but I truly don't understand why you wouldn't. There will be people in the comments of this video, just as there is on every other video about the NRLW, who want to tear it down just because it's women. People who are sexists and people who are bigots. I spent genuinely no more than 10 minutes looking in the comment sections of NRLW videos and found they spend hours putting on makeup. It's embarrassing and cringe watching them act like 6-year-old little girls. Cringe, cringe, cringe. I hope the dishes are done. Rugby League is not a women's game. AFL is only a women's game. Does anyone seriously watch NRLW? Bunch of clown thinking they're tough. Good for a laugh, but that's about it. Smash. Millie a trans? Looks like she had a moustache. If I can find all that in 10 minutes, it's pretty telling, isn't it? It is a vocal minority, but those comments form a part of the culture that these girls are faced with. Young girls who aspire to play in the NRLW and want to watch NRLW content because of their idols, they read those comments. And for what? I know that there's a lot of young men and boys these days who have a pretty screwed up idea of what masculinity is, but to be abundantly clear, this isn't it. All that putting down women does is show your own insecurity. It is not tough. Being a man is about being supportive, lifting up those around you. And yes, fighting, but fighting for good in the world. If you've left a comment like this, you might have a dick, but you're not a man in my eyes. If you're not supporting the NRLW yet, you're very, very soon going to be in the minority here. NRLW regular season viewership cracked 8 million last season, with another 3 million watching the State of Origin series. This year, with the Origin series having just ended, I'm happy to confirm that we have again broken that record, with a combined average viewership of 4 million across the 3 games. Not to mention the obvious comparisons that you can draw with the AFLW, which has existed for a year longer. But despite that head start, NRLW regular season viewership is 2.6 times higher, with finals viewership being 3 times higher. Rather than just having it be this separate additional thing, the NRLW is very quickly becoming part of the furniture in the NRL world, and it all culminated in a brilliant State of Origin series that's just ended, with the Blues taking out a 2-1 victory. Queensland can hold their heads up high though, winning Game 3 in Newcastle in what was a genuinely really intense Origin game. The level at which these girls played throughout the series, considering the fact that a number of them haven't played top grade footy since the regular season last year, was immense. And I want to say that they should be proud of their efforts, but honestly, this is the bar that they've set. This is the expectation now that they return after such a long layoff and play at this high quality. I am honestly personally counting down the days until the start of the NRLW season. I'm going to be streaming for it as much as I can, making more content around it, and just generally offering my support to a competition that genuinely has the potential to change this country's relationship with Rugby League. The NRL is doing pretty well to capture the massive growth potential of the female audience, but the NRLW's success has the potential to catalyze that to a whole new level. We saw it with Matildas, and we're seeing it over in England, where crowds like this one show up to trophy celebrations outside stadiums for women's teams. Men and women together in that crowd, getting around a shared love for sport. If you don't want to get behind that, well, at the end of the day, you're only robbing yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.